So we have some sentences today. That's what we've been practicing. Remember, our test is tomorrow, so we'll do our final practice today.
Yay.
Hopefully, we'll be ready to go for the test.
I'm ready to pick it up.
All right.
I'm already done a duck.
All right. So let's look at number 1. It says, "Feed the dog," said Dad. Would that be indirect or direct? Feed the dog, said Dad. Would that be direct or indirect?
Direct.
That's direct. The person is speaking in this. Dad is speaking. He is saying, "Feed the dog." So go ahead and write number 1 correctly. Feed the dog. Write number 1 correctly. Turn around.
Taking from looking at my paper, I'm looking at my lap.
Okay, well, she can't see it when she looks. Now 10 plus 6 is 20 plus 6. 20. And that's 30. You did 10, 20, 30, and 6 extra. So that's not accurate. It's 26.
Who's sniffling? Oh. Hedra? Who? How? What did that say?
Okay, do we have number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, could somebody tell me how we should have wrote number 1 correctly? Okay, Camille.
Dad told me to feed the dog.
Well, no, I want you to write like corrected.
Capitalize F and feed.
Okay, capitalize F and feed.
And put a period.
Okay, where are my quotation marks?
Feed the dog before F and after dog.
Okay, and what do I do here?
Capitalize the D and put a period.
Okay, so now you already did the next part. So now number 2, give me the indirect of number 1. So for number 2, give me the indirect quotation for number 1. Now I want you to write it down.
Wait, I already did. I did not. I know it.
It can't be 59 because 59 comes after 58. So it's a different number that has to go there. I told you to count. Count from 48 to 56. You'll say one of these. Well, not that. You'll say something. So count. Okay, yeah. Oh, I need it. I mean, that's good. That's good. Right away, answer. Okay. All right, so number 2, anybody can tell me what would be an indirect quotation for number 1? Okay, lyrics. So number 1 was feed the dog, said Dad. What's an indirect quotation for that one?
Dad said feed the dog.
Dad said to feed the dog.
Yes.
Good. That would be indirect. Do we need quotation marks? No, not on indirect quotations. All right, so number 3, it says Tony asked if I would play with him. Is this direct or indirect? Indirect. So go ahead and write number 3 correctly. Write it correctly.
Wait. I did it wrong.
Sentences with the spelling words, and then you write your Greek and Latin 2 times. Okay, so how should I have corrected number 3, the indirect quotation? Okay, Solomon, how should it have been written correctly?
capitalize the T,
Capitalize first letter T.
and capitalize the I,
Capitalize my I.
and put a period.
Period. Correct. So remember, when it comes to indirect quotations, it's similar to if you were writing a sentence, right? Similar. You have to capitalize first letter, put a period, and if there's any other punctuation. All right. So for number 4, turn this into a direct quotation. So the indirect was Tony asked if I would play with him. How would I make that into a direct quotation with Tony actually speaking? Go ahead and write this one. I guess some of you might have did it already, but here.
I did. I did. It said direct, so we directed it. But you have to wait for
And what does directed it mean? And it's not in a word.
direct. Stop correcting me, Carl. You don't even
All right. Okay, anybody can give me the direct quotation? What should it say?
Will you play with me? Said Tony. Will you play with me? Said Tony.
Okay, well, he didn't say it, he asked. So, will you play with me? Asked Tony. So, quotation, will you play with me?
I said that.
Quotation, asked Tony. Is there everybody who did something different?
I meant that.
Okay, what you did, Camille?
Are you going to play with me? I asked.
Okay, well, Tony's asking, what are you going to play with me? Okay, good. Larry, what did you put?
Tony said if I would play with him.
Okay, that's still an indirect. So if you would say, will you play with me? Ask Tony, that would be more of a direct. Okay, anybody else?
I got one.
Something different from.
Tony asked, could you play with me?
Okay, so she put the who's speaking first. Tony asked, will you play with me? All right, good. So all of these are ways that we can turn indirect into direct. So tomorrow's test will contain us doing the exact thing. So you'll correct some sentences and then you'll turn, I'll give you a direct and I'll ask you to make it indirect, or I'll give you an indirect and ask you to make it direct. So just be prepared. This is what you'll have to do for the test on tomorrow. Okay? All right, do we feel prepared?
Yes.
Yeah, so people shook their head, yeah? Okay. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do some phonics. Okay, hold on.
That's success. Get our book, Miss Fulgence.
All right, let's get our books for dictation, page 215. 215.
You said page 115?
215.
Wait, 200. Never mind. I didn't have to do it. You put the 214. I did.
All right, so 215. That's because they were in here doing what they weren't supposed to. That's why.
Well,
No one told them to do that.
no.
All right, so I have two sentences. Let's go ahead and do our first one. Come with me to see the chicks. Come with me to see the chicks. Come with me to see the chicks. Okay, so come with me to see the chicks. Should have had a capital C at the beginning of come and then a period. Okay, let's do the bottom one. They hatched last night. They hatched last night. They hatched last night. Harlem.
Can I do the second sentence?
Okay. You go ahead.
Capitalize the T and put a period.
Good. Capital letter at the beginning and period at the end. They hatched last night. Okay, sentence with your words. All right, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and look at the board.
Can I write this down?
All right, so remember we are currently learning contractions. Is when we have two words that we put together to make a shorter word. We will take out some of the letters and we replace it with an apostrophe. Okay, so today let's focus on have. So we did am, which is I. We take out the A. Yesterday we did is, which we take out the I. Okay. Yesterday we did will, where we take out the WI, put apostrophe L. And then we did are yesterday, where we take out the A and put R apostrophe RE. So let's look at have. This is the one we'll learn today. So sometimes you can contract the word have, meaning you make it shorter to connect it to another word. Whenever you contract the word have, you will take out the H and A and have apostrophe VE. That's how we contract have. So let's look at I have. What would be my contraction for I have? I. So it'll be I apostrophe V-E. I have. Next we have you have. What will be our contraction for you have?
You.
You. Y-O-U apostrophe V-E. And we have. What's our apostrophe for we have, Brian?
Weave.
Weave. W-E apostrophe V-E. So when we contract have, we take out the H and A and replace it with apostrophe VE. That apostrophe shows us that the H and A was taken out, okay? So now what we'll start to do is apply our contractions in sentences, okay? So instead, because sometimes you don't have to write both words, you can just put the contraction, okay? So let's look at this one. It says, I have seen him before. So my two words are I have. I want to take away I have and contract it. What will it become once I contract I have? Okay, Hannah? I. So instead of saying I have seen him, I can say I've seen him before. So instead of saying we are in second grade, what's the contraction I can have for we are, Josiah?
Weave.
Now we are. We are in second grade. Remember when we did R yesterday?
Oh, finally.
We take out the A. Right? Apostrophe R-E.
I forget.
Okay, that's okay. So instead of we are, we would say we're. So we will put W-E apostrophe R-E. Okay? It is cold outside. Instead of it is cold outside, what's the contraction I can put instead of it is cold outside? It's. So we took away that I to put I-T apostrophe S. And she is my friend. She is my friend. Okay, Harlan, how if I contract she and is, what will it become?
She's.
She's. Well, again, we take off that I and we put S-H-E apostrophe S. She's my friend. Okay. Awesome. All right. And so we also practice past tense verbs. Remember, past tense means that it already happened. So if I would say I will jump on the trampoline, once I'm finished jumping, I say yesterday I, what is it, Lyric? Yesterday I
Jump.
jump. So remember, some of the verbs we add ed to make it past tense. And then ran. I ran a mile today. Sorry, I got it backwards. Run. I will run a mile on today. So once I complete the mile, I put it backwards. I'm correct. Once I complete the mile, I will say I, what, Solomon? I
ran.
I mean, I had it. I meant to put it the other way. I ran a mile. Next, I have pick. Today, we will pick strawberries. Once I do it, I will say yesterday, okay, Josiah, yesterday, I
Pick strawberry.
picked strawberries, ED at the end. And the last one, drive. We will drive to the store. But once we finish driving to the store, you will say earlier we drove to the store. So remember, past tense, some of them you simply add ED. Some of them you have to change the whole word. It'll become a new word. And you'll know, because when you try to use it in a sentence, you'll say, wait, that doesn't make sense, right? Like if I would say, yesterday we drive. No, yesterday we drove, okay? Awesome. So this is dealing with some contractions. You'll probably see some past tense verbs on your phonics test tomorrow, so just be prepared and ready for that, okay? All right, so we have a lot of math to cover today. A lot. So that's what most of our lesson will be in math today. Because we have new multiplication facts we're learning. plus some other stuff that we're learning as well.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna be lame.
You cannot talk.
Yawn. Adam.
Do what?
What's
What's wrong with your pencil? It seems like it's ready. All right, so let's practice some time. Remember yesterday we practiced how to tell time by the minute, but by the single minutes, not just 5-minute intervals. You get a pencil, you must take a pencil, what you have. All right, so let's practice. So remember yesterday we started telling time, reading it in between the fives, okay? All right, so let's look at it. So we have 2 hands. Shorthand is your hour. Always find your hour first. Then we have our minute, okay? Long hand. So let's look at my hour. I'm gonna put it between 7 and 8. So even though my hour is between 7 and 8, which time did it just pass? If it's between 7 and 8, which hour did it just pass, Solomon?
7.
Thank you. Yes, 7. Then it just passed 7. So we know the hour is 7. Now let me put my minute hand. Okay, here we go. So let's go back before we count. Remember, each number on the clock, because it's minutes, represents a what? A 5. So we start with 0, that's 12. 12 is 0. 1 is 5. 2 is 10. 3 is 15. 4 is 20. 5 is 25. 6 is 30. 7 is 35. 8 is 40.
45. 50. 55.
All right. So anytime it's in between 2 numbers, same thing like the hour. Always find the number that it just passed. So in this case, we know that it just passed 3, which would really be 15. So to find the answer whenever it's in between, I have to count by ones. So if it's right here, I would say 15, 16, 17, 18. It's 7, 18. Okay. That was a refresher. I'm gonna put some other times up.
It's
Okay. Find your hour first. And then figure out where your minute is. Look when the 5 it just passed and count by ones. Try to figure it out and then ask for the answer.
Wait, no.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, I don't. Okay, anybody has a time for me?
Two.
Okay, 2 is your hour.
8.
2:08. Yes. 2:08. Okay. Look at this one.
Wait. Okay. Sweat.
Everybody? We're still counting? Okay, Lyric.
8, 5, 95.
Okay, not
And then-
95. So what is your shorthand pointing to?
12.
So your hour is 12. And to figure out your minutes, we look here. So it just passed up 9, so we know that's 45. So then we count by ones to figure out what number it is here. So we say 45 at the 9, then 40.
46.
So it's 12:46. No, you tell me which one you didn't do.
I just did
You did Mae Jemison?
Mae Jemison.
Okay, next one.
This is easy.
Then do that one.
It is. Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
I mean 9.
9 is your hour.
28.
28.
Yeah, I got that answer. I thought it was 29 at first.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So just remember, when it's on the lines here, it's always important to figure out what 5 you just passed so that you know where to start counting by ones at. Okay. All right.
Get up.
All right. So today we're going to learn what's called parallel lines. That's what you'll see here. Anybody heard of parallel lines before?
Nope.
If you did your page already today, then you probably saw it in your page, but these are examples of parallel lines, okay? So if you look at the lines, there's something that's the same about each one of them. What do you see that's the same about each one?
Hello.
Anybody? Hey, Harlem. What do you see that's the same? It's okay. Anybody else? Okay, Camille.
They all have 2 lines.
Okay, they're all double lines. Yeah. Okay. What else about them that we see?
They're arrows.
Okay. Well, they're lines though.
That's what I was like arrows.
What about the fact that they're not touching? Right? None of them are touching, right? They're all right on the side of one another, not touching. Okay? They're the same distance apart. One is not longer than the other. They're their exact same length. So these are called parallel lines. And a good way to remember parallel lines is because of the 2 L's that you see in parallel. Right? So if they ever ask you what are parallel lines, you should say, but look at the word parallel, double lines. Parallel lines are 2 lines that are the exact same length. They never touch, they never cross. They are the exact same length, but they can go in different directions. So these are examples of parallel lines. Again, they do not touch, they do not cross, they do not meet, and they're straight. They can go in different directions, like this one is vertical, this one is horizontal, this one is oblique. But as you can see, there are 2 double lines that never touch, never meet. Okay, so that's all. That's really it for parallel lines. I just wanted to show you what they are. If you forget, think about that double L in parallel. That helps you to remember. A parallel line are 2 lines that are the same length and they're right on the side of each other. Parallel, straight lines. Okay. Mhm. 2. All right. So let's go ahead and divide. So I have 9 donuts. Can someone tell me how I would divide my 9 donuts in half? 9 donuts. How would I divide them in half? Okay, Brian? What can I start doing to draw it?
Oh, John. 9 lines. I mean 9. Wait, donuts? Like donuts?
And I'm trying to just divide it between 2.
You have to draw 9 donuts.
But how do I draw it to make sure that I'm doing it evenly?
You draw 1 on 1.
Okay, so I take my time drawing 1 and 2,
Then
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh,
8. Now I have 1 left. Can I put the 1 on any side?
No.
No, because it's not going to be equal. So what do I do with that 1 that I have left over?
Put it in the extra box.
Put it in my extras box. So 1/2 of 9 is what?
4.
4 with the remainder of,
1.
okay, anytime you have that extra, it's called a remainder of 1.
All
All right, so you need a little sleep paper. So today we're going to move on to triple digit addition up here, adding 3 numbers. So we already know how to add. We did double numbers a lot of times already. And so this is the same, except now you'll be doing 3 numbers at a time. So you'll have to pay attention to how you're carrying over. So you need a little sleep paper.
I'm just gonna get a notebook and fill it out. Wait, Holly, what did you say? He just went over there. Nothing. Yeah, because I was thinking to myself. Oh, you can do that, but then you forgot to. I'm still using the same paper. I don't want to use my same card. Right. Oh, I keep forgetting my pencil on the line. You'll get a double. Then Miss Lulu said it now. Yeah, Miss Lulu said you put it now. And you.
All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna do an example 1 up here first before we get to the 3 up here. All right, so now that we're adding triple digits, we have 3 places now with our lines. We have, of course, we know the back number is where our 1s go.
Yep.
Our middle number is our 10s, and now we have a hundreds place. So we have 3 places that we have to pay attention to whenever we are writing the answer, okay? So in this case, I have 148 plus 206. All of my steps are still the same. That does not change. I start in the back. So what I start with is 8 plus 6, right? 8 plus 6 is what? 14. So what do? I put the
4.
and my 1 has to.
Go to.
Now, what's important is knowing where to carry over. If you have to carry over, all you do is carry over to the column that's right in front of it.
Right there.
Don't skip one and then carry over all the way to the front. No. If I was adding my back 2 numbers and I have to carry over, I'll carry over to the middle. Same thing as if I carry over in the middle, I will carry over to the front, okay? So 8 plus 6 is 14. I put my 4 and then I put my 1 above up here. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 0 is 5. Then I just add my front numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. 354. So it's really not complicated at all. It's just you have to pay attention where you're carrying over. Because if you carry over to the wrong column, you'll get the wrong answer. So you want to make sure, like I said, if you got to carry over to the column that's right in front of it, the numbers that are right in front of it. Don't skip and go somewhere else, but add right in the front. Let me show you another example. 132 plus 191. So I'll start in the back here with 2 plus 1, that equals 3. Then I come to the middle. 3 plus 9, what does that equal? 12. So how do I show 12? I put my, and where am I gonna carry the 1? Right here. So even if it's the middle you're carrying over, if it's the middle you have to carry over, don't go to the back, okay? If it's the middle that you carry over to the front column. This is addition. We are not subtracting, we are adding. So then I add my front numbers. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. 323. All right, so go ahead and set up the 3 up here, and I want you to add them up. I'll give you some time. Set them up and add them up. I'm waiting on them. Okay, go ahead, Harlem. Walk us through this one.
Is this the right?
143 plus 219.
9 plus 3 equals 12.
Okay, how do I show the 12?
Put the 2
Uh-huh.
and put it where the 4 is.
Okay, carry the 1 over. Okay, what do I do next?
I did that. 1 plus 4.
Okay, 1 plus 4 is 5.
5 plus 1 is 6.
Okay, good. 6. And then what do I do from here?
Go to the hundreds.
Okay.
I did that.
1 plus 2 equals 3.
Good. 362 should have been our answer. Is that what everybody has? Or some people who completed it have 362? All right, second one. Let's walk through this one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. 2 plus 8 equals 10.
How do I show 10?
Put a 0.
What do I do with the 1?
Put the 1 by the 7 and the 1.
Okay.
1 plus 1 equals 2.
1 plus 1 is 2.
And 2 plus 8 is 9.
2 plus 7 is 9.
And 1 plus 1 is 5.
590.
Got that one.
Awesome.
70.
And then our last one, 317 plus 190. 317 plus 1, anybody? Okay, go ahead, Solomon.
My answer is
7 plus 0 is 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
1 plus 9 is 10.
Okay, how do I show 10?
Just we did it right.
Put a 0
Okay, where do I put my 1?
up there.
Okay, above the 3. Okay.
1 plus 3 is 4.
500.
500.
And 4 plus 1 is 5.
507. Okay, who did all 3 and had them all correct?
I did.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
That's funny.
Okay, awesome. So this is what you'll start to see now in your book, adding triple digit numbers. So I told you the rules still apply. Just carry over to the next column. I think we kind of should be able to do this because we've done double digit, except now you just have 3 numbers. That's the only thing that makes it different. So remember, if you have to carry over when it comes to the front, all you do is just bring it all down, right? Because there's nothing else to add there. So if it's always the front number, bring it all down. All right, awesome. So yeah, so we do have our multiplying times 5. That's what we're going to be learning next, but we'll do that on Monday. So if you could not do it this week, the ×5, you'll see it on 110 later this week, but we'll do that on Monday, okay? So save that page for Monday, the multiplying ×5. I'll introduce ×5 facts on Monday. All right, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and go over some adverbs. Yes.
I know what an adverb is. I know what an adverb is.
Uh-huh.
That's what
What's that? And then, where does she live?
my mom
Huh?
said we might go to Louisiana.
Oh, cool. Let me know if you do come. All right. So let's go ahead and go over adverbs. Remember, what is an adverb? An
An
adverb is a
adverb is
word.
a word that describes a verb, an
That
adjective, or other verb.
An adverb is a word that describes a verb, an adjective, or another verb. So on Monday, we discussed how started to list adverbs. Remember, we were practicing on verbs mainly. Adverbs will describe how the verb is done. I told you most adverbs end with ly. If you remember that, that's going to help you when trying to figure out some verbs. Most of them end in ly, okay? So let's talk about sing. How could someone sing? How could someone sing?
Loud.
Loudly? Loudly?
I know it.
Okay, how else can someone sing?
Gracefully.
Gracefully?
I remember that.
What's another way someone can sing, Harlem?
Gracefully.
Well, we have gracefully.
Oh, Miss Prudence. I know one that I tried to do on dance.
Joyfully.
Who?
Joyfully.
Joyfully. Okay, she sung joyfully. What about beautifully?
I was gonna say that.
Beautifully. Okay, what about dance? Let's say it. What are some adverbs to describe how someone can dance? Dance.
I'm going to write this
Quickly.
I know it's the basic one.
Quickly, what else? Lyric?
Silly.
Huh? Silly, you said?
Mhm.
Okay, silly.
Basically, like it's a basic move.
Yeah, that would be one, but let's say
Oh,
easily.
I was gonna say.
Easily. Powerfully.
Powerfully.
They dance powerfully.
Oh.
So guess what? You better remember these. It's gonna be on the test tomorrow.
No.
Powerfully, good. Okay. Next we have kick. How can someone kick?
Oh.
How can someone kick? Okay, lyric. Fastly, quickly. Okay, what else? Hardly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it will go faster.
Let's say strongly, not hardly. They kick the ball strongly.
It's still my turn, Susie.
Uh-huh.
Highly.
Highly.
Like you go
We could say skillfully because they kicked it really good.
this.
Good. What about right? What are some ways to describe how you can write? Harlem?
Neat.
Neatly. Good. Solomon?
Darkly.
Say it again.
Dark.
Darkly. You could write dark, but that would be more of an adjective.
I know I missed Legend.
Anybody? How we could write? Let's say slowly, neatly, slowly. We could say quickly too. Okay, Camille.
You.
Messy.
Messily, yes. Okay, what about cry? How could someone cry?
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Okay, lyric.
Loudly.
Loudly.
Wait, that's loud.
What about painfully? They cried painfully.
That one.
Good boy.
What about dramatically?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's good.
Huh? What else?
Loudly. You did it. That gives me a...
What?
Quiet.
Quietly. Some people cry quietly. Noisily.
Wait, is it not loudly and noisily?
Okay, Camille. Yeah, those two different ways.
I don't like loud. I love loudly.
Happy.
Happily, yes.
Wait, how would they cry happily?
Some people cry tears of
Oh,
joy. Okay, and then drive. What are some adverbs to describe how someone can drive?
We did this yesterday too. I wrote everything down and I'm looking at it right now. Who wants to see it? Who wants to see the driving? Who wants to see the driving?
Okay,
I'm going. Stop.
how could we drive?
You could drive faster.
Quickly?
I know something that you said.
What?
Recklessly.
Recklessly?
I remember.
Recklessly, okay, Hannah?
Slowly.
Slowly? Harlem?
Crazy.
Crazily, okay. Camille?
Miss Lucas, could you please not erase it yet?
I'm not going to. No?
Oh my God.
Correctly.
Correctly, you said? Let's say carefully.
God.
Dangerously.
No.
All right, good. So I'm going to leave this up. If you want to write this down, I'm going to have these along with some others on your test tomorrow. So if you want to get this down, you don't have to write all of them. Maybe for the verb, maybe write one or two of them for each verb. You don't have to write all of them, but I'm going to have these on the test tomorrow and I'll have some extra ones too. So it'll be these verbs and a few more. No, Hold on.
They don't have any more. I got a new pencil. And it's not broken. This one just got
No, when you did rough parts. Did you do Rosa Parks?
Is it broken?
Well, here, Rosa Parks is supposed to
It's been broken. I did that to Polly, Amina, and look what I just did. No, you didn't. You said no.
You read it first and then you answer the question. Just like when we take a test. You live in more than just Texas. You live in Texas, but look, I was born in Alabama. Over here. Okay, California. Now you know California. We went to California. New York. Yeah, he's not first. It's Jackie Robinson. So let me explain.
She broke it.
She broke it.
This
and she
about
broke mine.
Jackie Robinson. And then you're gonna take these, read them, and you're gonna match it with the year. It has it in here. So look, Jackie Robinson was born January 1st, 1919.
Behind some red.
1919. So you'll read the one that says Jackie Robinson was born, and you're gonna do it right here. Yes, you did a good job. The dates are on here, so you have to read through it. So it's the first second or early. Look, from 1942, 1942. You have to read what it says. You served in the army. Okay. If she does this right the first time, y'all can be subscribed.
It's not ready yet.
They know what I'm talking about.
Crazy.
But I was actually looking at the
She's
bottom.
famous for something else.
This was it.
Read this again.
Whenever it was
No.
that, whenever it was that thing, I thought it was at the bottom.
What?
The thing, like when he did the thing.
So you didn't read it to connect it together. That's what I was saying.
Oh, I thought you meant I wasn't reading it because
That
I
is
thought,
what I meant.
but I thought it was literally at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Oh, that explains. Okay, we have it or not yet?
Not yet.
Yeah?
I have it. Don't say don't.
Good thing that this was just good thing I can bring this home and here because this is it. This is from the store.
Stop. Working. You haven't just gonna work on funny because we don't want to do that.
You know you gotta do this.
Did you do your math facts?
Yeah. I mean, you know you gotta
So we're
do
gonna
2
do
plus
facts to math.
2. You have to do 2 plus 2. 2.
No, it's dramatically, painfully.
You gotta do 2 14, 2 15, and 2 16.
I'm not doing all the
No. What does it say? She worked hard to become the first African American woman to enter space. That's why she's famous. She's the first Black woman to go into space.
Wee!
That's not the page, but okay. It was 108.
How do you cry happily? It's like when you're praying to God.
Oh.
You're like, Lord, I'm gonna do this, even though I'm sad.
Oh yeah, sometimes that happens.
I'm gonna say mine.
Okay, are we almost done? Not yet?
Yeah, I'm almost done. Because I had the old That's because the teeth is growing. The teeth are gonna come out. And then I think we have chocolate. Take that out and
All right, so we're good?
Yes.
Yeah, no, maybe so.
I'm set.
Okay. All right, good deal. All right, so if not, I'll have the Zoom up, guys, where you could go over it to write it all down. Okay, so it's okay if you're not able to finish it. It's really okay. All right. All right, so let's quickly go over. Oh, we have to read. Sorry, the reading. Let's finish our book. Let the children march. So remember, the children started to march. So we're gonna see what happened. Remember, they were arrested as well. So let's see what happens once they're arrested. This is where we are.
Oh, that's a lot of children. I love this. Is that a white person? Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, look at that. He can't even see.
Look at that guy who's getting pushed. And look at the girl.
That girl just. Yeah, they didn't do anything. They're just marching. How did they lose their job? And they just get it sprayed with some water.
Did you read it first?
Like this.
Okay,
white
yep. So then go find something that says 1942.
I mean, that's a Gentile.
Yeah.
A Gentile.
All right, are we ready? Everybody has a page? Yeah.
Miss Blue, they are wrong by me.
Okay, just please don't put it back.
We have to study. How are we study? And this and both of those girls.
Okay.
Miss Blue, how are we gonna study reading?
Yeah, never do. I'll let you, we're gonna talk about that later. Okay, all right, so remember the kids get arrested. All right, so go ahead, Solomon, start us off where we are today. Let's see what happens next. That night, yeah, you got it, the page.
The night crowded into a cell too small for even half of the kids. We say we shall overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, and freedom is coming. Our parents couldn't be there with us, but still we say, rock in a proud and loving arms of our
Ancestors.
ancestors.
Okay, so the kids are arrested and thrown into jail. And I told you some of the kids were as young as 6 and they were thrown into the jail. And so the children did not allow this to break their spirit, right? They sung while they were in jail and they sung songs like "We Shall Overcome," "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around." They sung because they were all alone. Their parents were not with them or anything. They were all alone by themselves, but they sung, right? They didn't allow, because they were in jail, to get to them and make them scared and sad. Instead, they sung. Okay, let's turn the page. Anybody who did not read this week would like to read? Okay, Omar.
Get a black
He did.
I was still in jail, but we heard that the next day and the next, more kids marched. The water hoses they used to sting us could not stop our first tide.
Good. So the kids are still in jail, and guess what? They were in jail, but guess what? More kids came out to march. And so they still were spraying them with the water hoses, putting the dogs on them, but that did not stop the children. They continue to march and march and march. And so the path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. So those kids are brave, right? Would you have done that at your time, at your age, at that time?
No.
Do you think you would have went out in March, knowing you could be arrested? Yeah.
For me.
All right, let's turn the page. Because this will make national news, meaning everyone in America will see what was happening in Alabama, right? Because of course the people in Alabama know what's going on with the children, right? In Birmingham, but all the people in other states, they don't know what's going on. So because of these brave children, watch how they're going to make a change. Okay, anybody who did not read this week?
Right, just when I put them out there, just
Okay, no, so some people don't have the book, maybe that's why. I don't know. Okay, Camille, thank you.
the baby's even died.
Turn the other cheek. We had been taught, show love where is hate. The world has watched as hate rush.
Which word are you on? Bruised?
Bruised
Yeah.
us. But for 7 days we walked only in love. The jails swelled to bursting, and even President Kennedy took notice. Daddy said the president received letters and calls about us from all over the world. Our march would become a memory, a small part of a larger story, but we had been heard, and all the seeds of revolution were sown.
Okay, good. And so this starts to make the news, right? News reporters started to come out from all over and recorded what was happening to the children. As you can see, as the people are watching on TV, the children were sprayed with hoses, and this hurted people because they're like, they're doing this to children, to kids. And so President Kennedy, who was the president at that time, he took notice, right? And so the president, he got letters about it. People were concerned about it. They're like, something has to be done in Birmingham. Look what they're doing to these children, right? And so their march was about to change the world because everyone saw what was happening to these children, their bravery, how courageous they were. Okay, let's turn the page.
Yay, after Evan.
Yeah, because I see my brother was going to read.
Ma'am? 2 days and nights I stayed in the jail. Some stayed even longer when I left. I was tired and sore. My best dress was ripped, but my smile was as wide as the Mississippi River. I had made a difference. I'm so proud of you, baby girl. Mama said your march was what made them with nothing more than our feet and voices, sweet voices and career. We had done what others could not, change what was right around the corner. We felt it like a cold breeze in Alabama August. On May 10th, the great news rang out. Dr. King has reached an agreement with the white leaders of the city.
Desegregation
would begin.
Good. Okay. So some of those children stayed in jail for 2 days and nights, right? Some stayed even longer. right? And so the parents miss their kids, but the kids did this for a reason, and this caused change. It allowed Dr. King to meet with some of the leaders in the city and desegregation. So remember, segregation is when they keep everybody separate because of their race. When you keep Black people separate, white people separate, it's called segregation. But desegregation is instead allowing everyone to come together. Remember, I told you they wouldn't allow Black people in certain places. If they were able to go to a certain place, they had to enter in through the back. They couldn't sit with everyone. They didn't get the right treatment, the right service like everyone. So now they were going to make changes, and desegregation, meaning bringing people together, no matter their color, their race, would start to happen. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this off. Oh, yeah. All right, come on, Carly.
1 month later, I was playing on a playground. I never been allowed to play on before. 2 months later, my family ate at a dinner we never been allowed to eat in before. Our march made the difference. We children led the way.
All right, good. Singing the songs of freedom. So they said about a month later, they finally saw change. One of the playgrounds that they could not play on because they were Black, because of the color of their skin, they could now play on that playground. Then 2 months after that, they were allowed to eat in a restaurant they could not eat in before. So it slowly started, it didn't all change in a day, but slowly after these children marched in Birmingham, Alabama, we see how the change started to take place. And now desegregation. So it was very brave of those kids to march, because it was because they marched, because they stood for change, that things started to happen. So these are brave kids. So yep, so that's our book, Let the Children March. Remember, this is a true story, y'all. This happened for real. Okay?
I remember.
We weren't alive. Maybe your parents, I don't know. If not, then maybe your grandparents were alive. Ask them. They, my grandmother was alive during this time. So 63 is not that long ago. We have people that's still alive from this time. So ask your grandparents. Ask them if they know about the civil rights time, Jim Crow time. Well, especially us that live in the South. It may not be as bad in the North, but yeah. Like here in Louisiana, we still have some places that have like signs that from the history of all of that. So yeah. Hannah.
Bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're pretty much at the end. Yeah. All right, so that's our book. So we'll test in our book, Let the Children March. Okay. Okay.
The students.
I
was born in 2014.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I was born in 2014.
2014. Oh, well,
Yes.
you were not alive in 63, but came way after. Omar.
What's our next book gonna be?
We have the Tuskegee Airmen, but it's a really long book. I'll let y'all know which book we're gonna do next.
That's what it was called.
Yeah, the Tuskegee Airmen. I'll let y'all know.
How much pages? Oh my God. Is it about the social studies?
Yeah, I remember when we read the Martin Luther King book. That book took forever to get through.
Yeah, and you said to if we could read that one all by ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go over your science and social studies for this week.
Yes.
So in science, remember we finished talking about scientists. We talked about the different things that scientists did. Last week we talked about the scientific method, which is how they approach different things and how they learn about things. And then this week we're talking about the tools that they use and where they study. Most scientists will study in a lab because that's, where they conduct a lot of experiments. But scientists who study like nature and plants, they have to go outdoors, right? They'll go in the habitat that they're studying. They'll go in the place that they're studying so that they could get more information about it. We talked about a lot of the different tools that they'll use. They will use a scale, they'll use a microscope, a telescope, a beaker, all the kind of different tools that scientists use. They all serve a purpose when it comes to a scientist doing their job. And so we also talked about safety, because some things are dangerous when you're, especially when you're conducting experiments, that can be pretty dangerous. Okay, so that's really a science. Science will be a very easy test this week. I'll just ask you to list some tools and where they study. It's gonna be a super easy test. I think we should all make A's on that.
If someone makes a big no, I'm gonna be mad because it's so simple.
All right. So also let's go ahead and talk about social studies. Now that will take a little while. Okay, so this week we talked about cattle ranching, right? So remember, as the West is opening up and expanding, we're learning a lot of more things about the West. There were a lot of wild cattle in the West, and some people, when they hunted the cattle, they caught the cattle, they realized that this was a type of meat they never had because they were all in the East and this meat was in the West. So because of that, 47 and 62. Because of that, they decided that they would basically start a business using the cattle, right? Because now the railroad is invented and they'll be able to get the cattle from the West to the East a lot easier. So so you have a rancher. He was the one that decided to catch the cattle, and he would take care of them, and they would belong to him. They will belong to him. So he would have like over 1,000 cattle. Remember, he would brand his cattle because at that time there were no fences, and rustlers would try to come and steal cattle. So the rancher would brand his cattle so that no one would take it. So if it had a certain brand on it, you knew who the cattle belonged to. So he would hire cowboys to take care of the cows because he needed someone to watch over the cows to make sure that they were safe, they didn't run off, and that the rustlers didn't steal the cows. So the cowboy had a big job. He often lived with the cattle, right? And so a cowboy, we talked about all his gear, all of that he has, the bandana, the lariat, the chaps, his boots, right? His hat, all of that he wears, the saddle, all of that is important for him to complete his job. Another part of the cowboy's job is to bring the cows from the East to the West. So they will go on this 4-month trip, traveling by train, going from the West to the East. They would often stop in these cow towns, meaning towns where they would be able to, have land for their cows to graze. So it took 4 months for them to get their cows in the East. It was a lot of work to do that. So the most famous cow town was Dodge City, Kansas. That was one of the most famous cow towns at that time. So when they will finally get there, they will be relieved because it was so much work, right? There were a lot of things that could happen. A stampede could happen, which could be very dangerous, right? And simple things could cause a stampede. Thunder, a loud sound, anything like that could cause the cows to kind of panic and run away. And they wouldn't want that to happen. So so that's basically it. Yeah, that was it with the cowboys and what their job was for the ranchers. They would take care of the cattle. So if you remember, cowboys would take horses with them. They would have 3 horses because sometimes the horses would get tired. They would have wranglers who would take care of the horses for the cowboys because the cowboys had to take care of the cattle. So the wranglers would take care of the horses. Okay. All right, so that's it. Don't forget to review your pages. Go over it again. Get in preparation for your test. Okay. All right, so that is it for us today, guys. You have all your tests starting on tomorrow. We will meet tomorrow for our phonics as normal. Okay. So y'all have a good day. I'll see everybody tomorrow. It's good to see how you all dressed up. Bye-bye.
Bye.